Good evening. Today I'm going to take the topic Borel sets for you. Basically, this Borel sets is derived from measure theory. Before introducing this topic, we should know what is the certain basic terms in measure theory. So I would like to discuss those basic terms for you before introducing this topic. Okay. So first of all, let us see what do you mean by a sigma algebra in measure theory? This is the basic term, this is the basic concept which we are going to apply in each and every sum and which will be required later on. So I'm going to explain what do you mean by sigma algebra. Just look at the definition. Let X be a non-empty set and A be the family script A. It is not the simple A. You have to write A in such a way that it should be different from normal A. Okay, this is how we are supposed to write script A. That is nothing but it is a family, or we can simply say that it is a collection of subsets of X. We say that A is a sigma algebra if it follows the following properties. Yeah, definitely we are going to consider a non-empty set X. Okay, it is non-empty. Suppose if we want to define sigma algebra, you have to consider the collection of subsets of this set. Since it is a non-empty set, definitely it has got particular number of subsets. We are going to consider the collection of those subsets and we are denoting that subsets by this A. If this A should be a sigma algebra, then it has to follow the following properties. Look at the properties. First property, phi. Phi is nothing but null set. It should be a member of A. This is the first point. Second point, for every element A in this A, script A, we have A complement. This means X minus A means A complement should be a member of A. And for every sequence of elements means if you are considering countable number of elements, countably infinite number of elements, the union of those elements should belong to this script A. So basically, if I say that sigma algebra, I'll define once more. I'll define the points once more. I'll make you clear the concept of sigma algebra. So we all know how to write the subsets for a particular set, and P of X, here I am representing this P of X. I am just clarifying the definition. Okay, I am again clarifying the definition of sigma algebra here. P of X means power set of X. Power set means the set which contains all the possible subsets of a set. So here again I have considered this script A, which is nothing but the collection of all subsets. If it is called a sigma algebra, first condition, null set should be a member of A, and the complement, if you take a complement of the particular set, the complement also should belong to A. And the next one, union, the union of countably infinite number of elements, or suppose you are considering a finite set, you should know that in the finite set, if you are taking the union of some particular elements, that union also should belong to that set. This is if a particular set follows these conditions, we can definitely say that it is a sigma algebra. For example, I will show you how a sum means how we can check whether a given set is a sigma algebra or not. If you understand this sum, then you will be getting a clear concept of that term sigma algebra. Yeah, look at the question. Check whether this is a sigma algebra or not. Okay, you have to check whether this given set is a sigma algebra or not. So let us recall the points. We have to check the conditions of the sigma algebra, which I have explained you now. There are certain conditions. There are 3 rules which a set must follow to become a sigma algebra. So first point, look at the first step which I have written over here, which is phi. Okay, phi means null set. Look at the question. In this question, does it contain null set? Yeah, definitely it contains null set. So we are writing the first point here. The first point, definitely this phi is contained in script A. This we denote this for sigma algebra. The first point is satisfied. Now I am going to check the second point. Since I have null set and this R is nothing but real numbers. Okay, if I have set phi and R inside the set, I am going to take the union of these two sets. How do we take the union? If you have two sets, how do we take union? Union means we have to combine all the elements in both the sets. So definitely we know R is the biggest real number system. Null set means nothing. There is nothing inside the set. So if you combine both of them, definitely we will get R only. So I got the union as R. It also belongs to the given set, which shows that union of the elements are contained in A. Again, I am checking intersection also. Means you have to check, first you have to check whether null set is a member of A. Second point you have to find out the union of the elements as well as the intersection of elements. Intersection means you have to take out the common elements in both the sets. Common elements means null set means what? Null set does not have any element. Real number means the whole real number system. So definitely there is no common elements between both of them. So the answer will be null set only. Intersection of R and phi will be null set only. So definitely it is clear from the question that null set is a member of this set. Okay. So I got intersection of the elements is contained in A. That is also satisfied. Now I have to take the complement. I have to take the complement of the elements. Complement means what? How do we define the complement of a set? Complement means if you want to take the complement for a particular set, you will exclude the elements in that set and will write the remaining elements from the universal set. So in this case, you are supposed to find the complement of R. Okay. Real number system means we all know it is the biggest number system which contains all the numbers. If we take the complement of the whole real number system, there will not be left any element. There won't be any number left out. So definitely the complement of real number system will be null set. So again we can easily see that the null set is a member of this set. And finally you can check the complement of null set. Null set means what? Null set means there is nothing inside the set. If you are taking the complement of that set, definitely that will be comprising the whole real number system. So the complement of null set will be equal to real number system R, which we can easily find out that it is a member of the given set. So what can I conclude here? I can conclude that since this script A satisfies all the properties of a sigma algebra, so we can say that this given set is a sigma algebra. Have you all understood now? Yeah. So what I would like to suggest is we have to just understand the concept of the sigma algebra before introducing the topic. So I have given one more example. For checking whether the given set is sigma algebra or not. So I will explain you. Again I would like to explain. We have to check just three properties or three rules. They are null set. Definitely null set will be a member of the set because we know that null set is a subset of every set. So definitely sigma algebra means nothing. It is a collection of subsets only. So the first point I will again reinforce, since null set is a subset of every set, definitely null set will be a member of that set. Then again you have to find out the union and intersection. You have to find out union of the sets, union of the elements as well as the intersection of elements. If they belong to the set, then it becomes a sigma algebra. And finally the last point means you have to take the complement of each and every element. If you are taking the complements and the complements also belong to the set, we can finally say that it is a sigma algebra. So definitely you should keep it in mind. It has to follow all the three criteria, then only it will be a sigma algebra. Yeah. So let me explain the concept once more. If a non-empty set is defined and we are taking A as the family or collection of subsets of X, we say that A is a sigma algebra if it follows the following property. Null set is a member of that A. For every A belongs to A, we have complement belongs to A. X minus A means complement. Then for every sequence of elements, if you are considering finite number of elements of that A, the union, this symbol, this notation shows that union of countable number of elements belongs to that set A. Then the pair X A is called measurable space and the sets which are called measurable sets. Yeah, definitely. Which we have learned what is a sigma algebra. The collection of the such type of sets are called as measurable sets. So basically we should know what are measurable sets before introducing the topic of Borel sets. So that is why I have explained measurable sets now. Now let me come to the point, the topic Borel set. Yeah. Before coming to Borel set, let us see what do you mean by Borel sigma algebra. Yeah, definitely a sigma algebra is said to be a Borel sigma algebra if Borel sigma algebra is denoted by capital B if B is equal to intersection of X alpha. Means X alpha is nothing but, again we are considering sigma algebras, another set which are defined on another set. X alpha is a sigma algebra containing open set. Yeah, just note down this point because we are going to define Borel set. Before Borel defining it, we should know what do you mean by Borel sigma algebra. A sigma algebra, already we have discussed that sigma algebra. Under certain conditions, it becomes Borel sigma algebra. So the condition is like X alpha is a sigma algebra containing open sets. Yeah, that means if the sigma algebra, if I am defining the sigma algebra for open sets, then it becomes a Borel sigma algebra. And if you are taking the intersection of those open sets, you will get a Borel sigma algebra. Open set means nothing. We have to define an open set. Set, it is almost similar to an open interval only. Suppose you have a real line like this. This is a real line, okay. I can define any interval on this real line. Either there are four types of intervals we know: closed interval, open interval, semi-closed and semi-open. Since in this case I am going to define an open set, I am considering open interval. Open interval, they are usually denoted by simple brackets. That indicates that the endpoints are not included in that set. That is called as an open interval. Suppose you take an open interval 2, 3. This means that you have to include infinite number of elements between 2 and 3, but you will not include these endpoints 2 and 3. So the same meaning applies for open set. You have to consider the collection of all open sets, and you have to define the sigma algebra on open set. Then that sigma algebra, and if you are taking the intersection, after taking the intersection, the collection of intersection of all the sigma algebra defined on open sets is called as a Borel sigma algebra. Yeah. Now let us see what is a Borel set. Any set contained in Borel sigma algebra is called as Borel set. Definitely Borel set contains a sigma algebra defined on open set. Yeah, a sigma algebra which is defined on open sets is called as Borel set. So here I have taken an example. Suppose I have considered a set which is defined, which is a member of Borel sigma algebra. Then I can say that X is a Borel set. Is that clear? That means we have already used capital B for Borel sigma algebra, so that we can easily differentiate it from normal sigma algebra. So in this case, we have to say that any set, if any set is a member of that B, we can definitely say that that set is a Borel set. Yeah, I have given an example, means you have to prove every interval is a Borel set. You have to prove that every interval is a Borel set. So for that proof, I am just taking capital I as an interval. You have to prove that that I is a Borel set. So what should I do? I is a Borel set means this I should be a member of B. If I can prove that this I is a member of B, I can definitely say that it is a Borel set. So for that purpose, I am just taking let X alpha, I am defining a sigma algebra which contains open sets, and I am considering all the open sets from A to infinity. I have used the notation simple brackets to show that it is an open set. Okay, I am just considering this. So definitely it should be a member of, if I am just writing down the properties of a sigma algebra. Since I have taken the set as X alpha and I have considered an open set, definitely it will be a member of that X alpha by the conditions of sigma algebra, isn't it? Yeah. Now X alpha contains every interval. That means X means if you have this interval belongs to this X alpha, definitely this interval is contained in X alpha, which shows that I, we have taken the interval as I, capital I. So definitely that I will also belong to X alpha. I belong to X alpha means what? X alpha we have taken as the sigma algebra which are defined on open sets. That means the sigma algebra which is defined on open sets is called as Borel set. Therefore, definitely this I will belong to B. So what does it mean? If I got a particular set belongs to a Borel sigma algebra, can I call that set as a Borel set? Yes, definitely I can call I as a Borel set. Hence, I can prove that every interval is a Borel set. So basically, we have not yet started the topic. I am just giving a basic introduction to sigma algebra and Borel set. What do you mean by that set, and what is the use? What is where we can apply these Borel sets in the statistics? Actually, this topic comes both in abstract maths as well as in statistics. But for the statistics part, we don't have to go in detail, more in detail. We have to just understand. We have to just understand the basic concepts of the topics which will be discussed in the next lecture. So I'm done with the topic of Borel sets today. Already I have neatly explained the terms and conditions or terms and properties of sigma algebra. I'll be sharing the notes in the WhatsApp for your reference. Yeah, okay. If you have any doubts, you are free to ask me so that we can. So I'm winding up the session here. Okay, fine. Bye. Bye.